Quite eventful, that game at Stamford Bridge in the end, as Chelsea came through to win it in a 6-goal thriller. 4 goals going the way then of Cole Palmer, and he becomes the first player to score 4 first-half goals in a Premier League game then. It leaves them 4th now in the table, Gabby. It means they've lost just twice in their last 20 league games. Those losses to Manchester City and Arsenal. Should we be realistically looking at Chelsea as a contender now for the title?
Put me on the spot there. I don't say contender, but I would say top 4 contender for sure.
All right.
I feel that what he started to do now, Maresca, is play, a settled side. You're seeing Sancho starting, you're seeing Jackson, and you're seeing Palmer.
Maresca on the other side.
Can I just say though, Brighton defenders, they should be doing laps now, this morning, this time. I'd have them doing laps around Brighton. The defending was an absolute disgrace. The first goal, Webster, so laid back.
No.
This has really wound me up this weekend, and all for the last 2 years probably. Defenders are so laid back when they receive the ball because they want to be the relaxed defender who's so good on the ball, the John Stones. It comes to Webster, he's so relaxed that he's off balance and then passes it short. Jackson runs through, crosses to Palmer, he scores.
Is there an element just on that? You mentioned the defending there. They were missing Van Heck. They were missing Veltman as well. Is that a possible issue that they didn't have their usual back line? Yes,
but when you look at the goals conceded and the chances conceded, it's like, come on, you've got to be ready as a player to come on and take your chance. So you're the manager. You're like, all right, Webster, come sit on the bench when Van Heck's available. I just don't get it. The ball's going to come to you. You can see that the striker coming to press you. Do you know what I mean? Why are you so relaxed and like chilling? I just don't get it. Defending now, it's like everyone wants to look cool and let's just be relaxed and take a chance. I mean, how many times could Brighton have scored as well? Even Sanchez passing it straight to Brighton midfielder, he goes and scores straight away.
Right,
so risky football.
Let's talk about the positives for Chelsea and Cole Palmer. 4 goals.
I'm joking. Yes,
4 goals. When people talk about the one that got away?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think Manchester City might be thinking about that?
I think they 100% will, but I understand why they did. He was 20 years of age when he left. You had Foden there. You still had Gundogan there, who's come back, of course. De Bruyne. You had all these players available. Maresca still there. And he's probably thinking, like, I'm not playing here, I want to leave. And he doesn't look like the sort of player that would have just sat there. I remember watching the Man City documentary, and he's in the background, fully in his tracksuit, not involved, and he just looks angry, like, I'm good enough to be involved here. And then Pep's probably thinking, 40 mil. All right then, perfect. I can use that on another player. And maybe Pep didn't think he'd turn out as good as he has so quickly.
That's the thing. Exactly. It's how quick he's adapted to life at Chelsea.
It will be one that Chelsea are buzzing about, and Man City will look back in 2 or 3 years and be like, Cole Palmer's worth 150 million. And you're like, we sold him for 40.
I asked you the question about whether they're in the title race. Let's bring in the owner of Chelsea Fan TV, Alex Harris, who joins us this morning. Morning to you, Alex.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How are we doing, guys?
All good, mate.
Yeah, we're all good. You must be delighted, obviously, after that game yesterday. Tell me, do you think your side's in a title race?
No, I don't think we're there yet. I mean, I'm still on the fence about whether we can get top 4. I love what I'm seeing. I just think that we need to keep our players fit. And if we can do that, then we're absolutely right. We're going to be right up there. But, for me, majority of things you look at and you say, this is absolutely fantastic. I think that even though Sanchez didn't have a great game in terms of his distribution, he made some fantastic saves. I love Cucurella on the left. Gusto is the perfect cover for Reece James on that right-hand side. So he's going to get consistent game time this season. Levi Colwill solidified his spot in the team. Nobody ever speaks about him. He's doing a fantastic job. Just keep going. I am a little bit uncertain about Fofana. For me, I play Tosin ahead of Fofana. If I was to give you a reason up front, I'd probably just say, listen, Tosin for me, he's going to stay fit for a whole season. I've never seen Fofana do it for Chelsea. I also think that Fofana's just been quite inconsistent. And I don't understand why people say he's this amazing defender. I just think he's made quite a few mistakes and nobody really talks about it. So that might be one thing I'd address in the squad. But listen, if Maresca wants to settle a certain back line, I get it. But yeah, I mean, we're looking very, very good, and we've definitely got arguably the best attack in the Premier League, and probably the best player as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Alex, how important it is as well for a Chelsea fan to see like a stable team, not changing it every week, and you got Mudryk coming in and then Neto's in. How important is it that these players get, I'm going to start on the weekend, Madueke, Palmer, Jackson, Sancho, because they get used to playing with each other?
Yeah, 100%. And we need the chemistry. I think what we didn't have last season when Poch took the job was we didn't really have the chemistry within the team. We
Yeah,
didn't have team spirit. And if you were to give Poch credit for one thing, is that he did build that camaraderie that we have. And Maresca's inherited that, in my opinion. And he's actually inherited a slightly better squad as well. We've got more quality. We've spent really, really good money. I think it's smart money. People didn't understand why we took in Jadon Sancho. He's a clear upgrade on Sterling, a clear upgrade on Mudryk as well. Felix is the perfect backup for Cole Palmer.
yeah.
That's why he doesn't have to go in our Conference League squad. So that allows him to be able to focus on the big games. And then up front, Jackson. He's just been fantastic, He might not be scoring goals every week, but what he is doing is he's making the players around him better. And that's why Nkunku isn't playing. It's not because Jackson's a better player than him. Remember Firmino at Liverpool, for example, very, very similar. He's unselfish. He doesn't do everything himself. And we saw for the first Palmer goal, it was laid off by Jackson. I don't know many players that would do what Jackson did, especially as a striker trying to score goals.
Yes.
I just think it's brilliant for the team. And if you've got players like that around you, then you're going to improve yourself as a player. And I think that's probably where Chelsea fans look at Madueke, for example, and we do think you can do a little bit better because he's so desperate to do well. But there are times where I think maybe you should pass it there. Maybe you shouldn't go for it. I think he's improving as well, but he's probably the only player in that front four that we look at and we say, well, you're not guaranteed a place in this squad.
Yeah.
Something you mentioned earlier on is about injuries and how that could affect your team. Of course, so with any side, if you get injuries to key personnel, it's a big problem. But is there too much of an over-reliance, do you think, on Cole Palmer? And if he picked up an injury, would that be the biggest issue?
Well, I mean, the best way to look at it is he scored 4 goals yesterday. And if he doesn't score those 4, who scores the goals? So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is even though Palmer is the one banging in the goals, I think everyone's actually chipping in this year. And that is different to what we had last season. We have players that will pop up. And even if we don't win that game 4-2, what we need to focus on is really keeping the clean sheets, because I'd be very, very happy with some 1-0 games, some clean sheets. Doesn't always have to be pretty, but especially if we're going to have this title challenge, which people are starting to talk about. I think it's a little bit early for that.
Alex,
we've got to get clean sheets.
Can I ask you one question though? Because yes, it's been very good from Chelsea so far this season, but so it should be. After spending nearly £1.4 billion on players, don't you agree that this is what you should be getting for the amount of money you spent?
Yeah, but these are all long-term investments, right? And this is really year 3 of the project. So actually, on paper, everything's just going according to plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think that we should have never sacked Poch last season. I come on here and I was very angry when we did. But it seems like actually the call to bring in Maresca was a very, very brave decision, and it's turning out fantastic at the moment. We are looking at a manager who tactically is outdoing a lot of the managers he's playing at the moment. Everything about what he's doing is different, and this is what we didn't expect. I expected Sawyer ball. I expected us to pass out the back every single game, no matter what. We're still seeing mistakes. Maresca said, listen, you're going to see more of those mistakes because this is the way we want to play. But the thing I like about him is he is not actually as rigid as we thought he would be as Chelsea fans. One week, I think we had 41% possession against Brighton at home. Nobody's talking about it. And they're saying how beautiful our football is. If this was Ten Hag for United, even if they won against Tottenham the other day, they would be going, well, you're parking the bus, it's counter-attacking football. So I do think we're actually getting away with it in that sense, because we're not necessarily playing this possession-based football. But what we are doing is we're playing smart football and we're playing to our strengths. And that is something you have to take your hat off for Maresca, because I don't think anyone expected him to change things up every week as much as he has.
All right, Alex, thank you very
you,
much
Alex.
for being with us this early morning.
very much.
A great
Thank you,
weekend for Chelsea, who in the Premier League are unbeaten since that opening day defeat to Manchester City.
Do you agree what I said, though, about the amount they've spent? Got two
That's
centre
a
midfielders
hefty
worth
amount of
200
money, of
million.
course. Of course.
It's about time you step up and play well. It's not. Do you know what I mean? You £100 million midfielders, both of years.
Yeah.
Jackson weren't cheap. Palmer 40 million.
Mudryk wasn't cheap.
Mudryk
And
was what,
unfortunately, he's
70,
not worked
80.
out, but-
The amount of money they've spent.
Yeah,
This should be happening.
yeah.
If you compare to what the rest of the Premier League have spent, like Chelsea fans must be like, okay, keep
Yeah.
it going. Like, this is normal. We're not going to get overexcited. Thank you for turning up and doing your job. Like, this is the amount of money we spent on you players. Finally, you decided to have a go.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Do you know
Of
what I mean?
course. You're spending, how much did you say it was in the end?
1.3 billion
1.3 billion.
euros.
Yeah, you got to see
And you
some.
look at someone
You want a
like-
quick return from
And you
that.
look at like your team, for instance, Brentford,
Yeah.
and how much you've spent, and you should be like, Chelsea, you should be going to Brentford and winning 5-0 both games this season, because the difference how much you spent on players, but they won't.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's
know
what I'm trying to say.
what
This
you-
is
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this should be happening, Chelsea. Let's not get carried away. You should be winning the games you're winning, and comfortably.
Well, not a bad sort of weekend for them, as I mentioned,
Yeah.
and that 4-2 victory, taking them into the top 4 as well as a result. Now, coming up, we turn our attention to the EFL and some ridiculous refereeing as well.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.